So someone on Twitter asked me what's the best way to learn UX design. I thought it'd be a very good video to just talk about the different ways to learn UX design, and at the end of the video I'll tell you what my favorite way is. So kicking us off is YouTube. Now, YouTube is a great resource for just learning anything in general. It's free, there's so much content, and just type in UX design on YouTube. There's so many YouTubers you can connect with, so many people are making great content. Shameless plug, me. I'm trying to create more tutorials on how you can learn UX design, my process, my experience, trying to bundle all that content on this channel. So if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and I'll be coming out with more things. But yeah, apart from me, there are also so many people that are doing great things in UX design. Just search it and you can find the person you connect with. The con is that it's not structured. That's a problem you're going to see with a lot of YouTubers. It's just content after content. And the reason is that sometimes YouTubers are incentivized to create content based on how many clicks they get. So even though that we know the best thing is to, start from the foundation, design thinking, empathy, things like that, we might just create a topic that's going to get the most clicks at first. But sometimes some YouTubers create like a playlist of all their videos in a more structured format. So if you find that, then that's very good. Second con is that there's not enough proof of credentials. So anybody with a camera can just get on YouTube and start talking about UX design. So you have to find out what kind of experience does this person have, what kind of projects have they worked on, how many years have they been in UX design, and what are their overall principles, how do they think about design. All this is not super clear at first, so it might be tricky finding who's the right person to follow for you. You might be following someone who doesn't have the most experience, or following someone whose career path is not a path that you want to see yourself aligned on. So moving on to another way to learn UX design is through paid courses. So there are courses about UX design on Udemy, LinkedIn, Coursera, Skillshare. Some creators even create their own websites that have these detailed courses and they're paid. So the good thing about that is that these courses are structured. So you already have like topics, sections, practical steps. It's all structured. When you come out, you're going to feel like you went through a structured path. Now the con with this is that it's obviously not free. So you're going to be investing some amount of money to get this course. And the second con is that it's hard to find the right course for you. So I know you can check the sections under a course, and then you can check some preview videos of the course, but it's until you go through the whole course to find out if it's right for you. And sometimes you can end up spending money on a course and come out of it and didn't give you exactly what you wanted. So that's just one thing to think about when thinking of courses. My advice is to follow a YouTuber or someone that gives out free content that you like and you resonate with, and check the kind of courses they're offering. Are these things that you actually want to learn, or are these things that you need improvements on? If they are, and if it's fairly priced, I think you should also consider paying for a course. There's so many good courses out there with very fair pricing, so something that should work out for you. Another way to learn UX design is through university or college, depending on where you're from. The pros with this is that it's super structured. You have people who've tested out curriculums and you can see what works and what doesn't work. There's also this level of confidence that you get. Now, what I should mention is that UX design is a pretty new course or new topic or industry, so it's very hard to find a university that has like a strict UX design course. The thing is that you might find a course in IT, communication design, things like that would kind of give you a good foundation of where you're going to. Computer science is also a good degree to have because it talks about the web, which are key things that you need to know before going into UX design. So it also gives you that good foundation. The con is that my point of view, university and college is just super expensive for what you're getting. So you have like thousands of dollars you have to pay, multiple years for this degree, and there's no guarantee of a job. The thing with the market right now is that, from what I've seen, most employers value your experience or your communication skills over the degree you got in university or at college. So you might spend all this money for all these years and not get the guarantee of a job until you work on your communication skills, kind of projects you've worked on, your experience before you land an amazing job. So that's the con with university. And the last point is that you might not have the most updated learning material. It takes a while to put a curriculum together, so to find one that has the most updated techniques, most updated trends in 2022, you might not get that course in university. There might be programs that offer that, but not like the traditional course in university. So a bootcamp is where a group of learners come together under a program. Sometimes it's 3 months, 6 months, and they just try to drill all the UX principles with some practical steps. It's super structured because they train a lot of students so they know what works best in terms of learning material, and it also gives you that confidence. Spending 6 months only learning about UX design, attending those classes, working with your peers, it's going to give you that confidence that you feel like you've learned UX design. So when you're applying to jobs or when you're freelancing, it's going to give you that confidence that you know what you're talking about. And there's also the practical, they do a lot of practical exercises, so working on those projects is going to give you a lot of confidence. Con is that some of these boot camps have some shady contracts or terms. So these boot camps will like to get a percentage of the first salary you make or some things like that, or you have to pay them if you land a job within this period or things like that. So be very clear on what their terms are and if it's something that you agree to. Personally, I don't think a boot camp should, charge you for getting the next job. I think you should just stop at that one fee, but that's my opinion. The second thing is that there's no guarantee of a job unless the boot camp has like a pipeline to a company. There's a guarantee, but it's usually the best students that go through that. And if you're above average but not the best, it's hard to get that guarantee of a job. So you might be investing a lot of money in this boot camp, investing a lot of time, and there's still no guarantee of a job, which is something that you should keep in mind. And they can be expensive, so either just paying for the boot camp one-off or having to pay some portion of your income, salary when you get that job, it's expensive. A good way to learn is one-on-one mentorship. So there's the basic mentorship where it's just picking someone in the UX design field that you like, just follow their talks online, follow the kind of content they put out. That is a form of mentorship as well. But there are platforms like Superpeer, which I'm on. That's my Superpeer account, so you can book some time with me and we can just talk about your portfolio and things like that. But one-on-one mentorships gives you that confidence because you're working with an expert in the field. You get to see a lot of practical tips, they get to see your portfolio and get to see them give feedback in real time. Super helpful. So the way they will teach you is for you because you have that one-on-one time with them, so they'll know exactly what your weaknesses are and they'll give you the areas to improve on. So you get that direct feedback with one-on-one mentorship, which I like. The con is that you might not find a mentor which is super easy to connect with. There's so many mentors out there. It might be hard to find a mentor that's a good fit for you. I'll say trying to follow what they put out online, trying to get a talk with them and see if you guys connect well, because you don't want to be roped with a mentor where you guys just don't have that mutual vibe. You might not get enough one-on-one time. So for me, I try to schedule interactive classes twice a month, which might not be the most for some people. I mean, it works for a bunch of people, but some people might want extra one-on-one time. So in that case, you might need to have multiple mentors. So just keep that in mind. You might not get the most time when working with a mentor. Another point I have on here is articles or books. So when just Google a book on UX design and see that if it has high reviews, it's probably a good book, and just read it. Or there are platforms like uxdesign.cc, which I love. They have great articles just diving into different trends in UX, which I like. And the pros is that it's super structured, especially a book. You have things that sometimes it's hard for people to put things when they're talking in a video format, but it's easier for them to put those things in super detail when they're writing a book. So you get lots of detailed content and articles as well. So articles are usually for like a specific thing. You have an article just talking about buttons, so you can get the most material in that article, which is great. Con is that there's not enough practical experience. So think about it like this: you can read a book on driving a car, but when you get into that driver's seat, no matter how much you've read, you're probably not going to be the best driver. So it doesn't give you that practical experience, whereas watching a video, having mentorship, all that gives you more practical experience than just books or articles. Now I'm talking about my absolute favorite way to learn UX. So I see it as those other things I mentioned are like 40% of the journey. That's when you're just constantly learning. But this is the practical aspect which I love the most, which is 60%. I believe if you just did this, you'll make some progress in your career. Now, this is designing, sharing, and seeking feedback. What I advise anyone who wants to learn UX design, if you want to dive right into it, just open up Figma, Sketch, Adobe XD, Framer, whatever tool you're comfortable with, open it up, pick some of the favorite designs you've seen online, and just start recreating them. So just recreate just to get the techniques and get into that designer's head of things that they did and things that you like. Once you have a solid foundation of that, don't spend too much time doing that, but it just gives you a solid foundation. Start thinking of like interfaces in your head. So a mobile app or website, a car interface, things like that. And start doing case studies. Put all those thoughts on paper. What do you think it should look like? What are the wireframes? Do like a case study for that and share it. Share it to your friends, share it on Twitter. People are going to give you feedback. It might be positive, it might be negative, but that's when you learn. So I speak on alignment a lot. Make sure elements are aligned to the left, aligned centrally, make sure spacing is perfect. I'm not just saying all these things because I watched a video on it or I read an article and these are now my principles. There have been experiences in my career where I've put out work and these elements are not super aligned. And that was the feedback I got, saying that align these things. So it sticks more when you put it out there and get that feedback. These things become ingrained to you. Like for me now, I'm never going to put out work where it's not perfectly aligned because I've just had that happen so many times. And on a macro level, you could design an app or an interface that just doesn't resonate with the user. And when you see a user using your app and they're not doing exactly what you expect them to do, all those principles, all that feedback is going to change the way you think about design massively. So the pros I put here is confidence, knowing that you're constantly putting out work and it's actually talking to real users gives you that super confidence that you're a UX designer. Get that practical experience, which I just talked about, and I guarantee that if you do this, you're going to progress in your job or in your career. If you're constantly designing, sharing, seeking feedback, you're always going to be moving forward. If you now add the other things like mentorship, YouTube videos, courses, it's going to supercharge how fast you move. But if you just did this, you're making progress. Whereas if you only did those things without designing, sharing, seeking feedback, I don't think you'll make as much progress. Pros is that you get the most updated techniques and trends. So what the users in 2022 like to see, what resonates with them, what kind of techniques can you put in your design. By doing this, you get the most updated techniques. Even stuff that hasn't been written about or talked about, you get to see them being implemented because you're actually talking to users right now. So it's super helpful. Now, the cons with this is that you might feel anxious. Realize that no design you do is ever going to be perfect, but you can just keep on working on it. So have that MVP, have that design that just solves a quick problem, and you can always go back and work on it, get new ideas, and things like that. And another con is that you might not feel your work is good enough. So any designer that you see putting out fabulous content, great content, they've probably gone through a stage where their content wasn't so nice. So it's now you have to go through that stage. So those are the different ways to learn UX design. If you got some value from this video, if you like this kind of topic, like, share, subscribe, do all the things, and I'll see you in the next one.